What happens when you mix aliens with a shit ton of psychedelics? Well, you get today's movie, X.T.R.O. Welcome back to B-Movie Madness. I'm your host Mark, aka the Movie Buffer, and today we'll be taking a look at Harry Davenport's alien exploitation film from 1982, X.T.R.O. In a nutshell, X.T.R.O is basically 5 or 6 completely different scripts that all got mashed together in order to create this beautiful disaster of a movie. One could argue that this film was made to capitalize on the success of Alien, which was released a few years earlier, as well as John Carpenter's The Thing. The tagline, "Not all extraterrestrials are friendly," however, feels more like a jab at E.T. The film begins very innocently, with a father and son playing fetch with their dog on the English countryside. Apparently, this particular stick also attracts aliens because all of a sudden, the stick explodes with a flash of light, and next thing we know, a UFO appears and snatches up Sam. But at least the dog survives. Also, I love how the stick gets stuck up in the air for a full 5 seconds before finally deciding to explode. Sam holds on for dear life, but can only do so for so long, and the aliens abduct him. It's 3 years later, and Tony is apparently having some serious PTSD flashbacks. Not sure what's up with this creepy POV shot, though. Did Mom walk into his room with a butcher knife in her hand? We then jump to a wide shot of the countryside at night when all of a sudden, and apparently no one in town noticed this bright-ass light that literally lit up the whole town side. Looks like the UFO that abducted Sam has returned. It flies over the town and then beams down this nasty-looking critter. Fun fact, the image of the creature I just showed on the side of the road got passed around a few years back on the internet where someone claims to have seen this thing. Bitch, that's X.T.R.O, you're not fooling me. The alien manages to thumb a ride from this chap, who pulls over to investigate the strange sighting.
What is it? Can you see anything? Stay in the car!
Maybe try following your own advice here? Now there's a look that says, yeah, I done fucked up. Now it's the girl's turn, who somehow manages to get her foot caught in the steering wheel while attempting to escape. This next scene is probably the main reason why this film managed to gain some popularity over the years, despite being a relatively obscure movie. It's also the reason why X.T.R.O managed to find itself on the Video Nasties list back in the day. So the creature sneaks its way into this cabin in the middle of the woods that just so happens to have a hot blonde living in it, who also happens to be living by herself. Rather than pounce on her from above like you would expect a monster to do in this sort of movie, the creature straight up pulls a Donald Trump. What happens next I cannot even begin to describe. It's kind of hard to even show most of this sequence on YouTube given the extremely pervy and graphic nature of it, but I'll just say that the alien creature has an appendage of sorts that it inserts into the woman's mouth and then pumps her full of some sort of liquid. Okay, did we really need to see a shot of the alien's O face though? After this, the creature simply crawls into the corner and melts, leaving a nice little buffet for the dog to enjoy. After some time, the woman comes to, only to find herself with a bad case of the bubbly guts. Quick, get her some Pepto-Bismol! And yes, this is the famous scene that got this movie banned from several countries back in the day, in which a woman manages to somehow give birth to a full-grown man. After splitting her ass in two, the man who is revealed to be Tony's dad, Sam, just nonchalantly strolls into the bathroom to have a nice little shower, barely even acknowledging the fact that he just crawled out of some random woman's vagina. Sam makes his way through town and attempts to get in touch with his wife and son, but experiences a bit of a problem. Eventually, Sam gets home only to find that 3 years have passed since his abduction, and his wife, thinking he had ran away, now has a new lover, Mr. 80s Mullet Man. Geez, this guy would make Joe Exotic proud with that thing. Needless to say, the boyfriend does not take too kindly to Sam's return. And how does Sam respond to this?
Sam! You crazy maniac. You're out of your fucking mind!
Well, I mean, that's how the majority of guys would probably want to respond to that situation. So Sam continues to act like a crazy person by sneaking into his son's room one day, and then eating the eggs of his pet snake. Naturally, upon seeing this, Tony freaks the hell out and books it. Sam catches up with him and then proceeds to start sucking on his son. No, not like that, you sickos. Actually, it turns out he's just giving Tony his, quote, powers. So you may be wondering, what sort of cool powers does he get? Laser vision? Maybe teleportation? Nope. Even better, he has the ability to make magical toys come to life, as well as turn them into creepy-ass dwarf clowns. Naturally, being a horror film, these toys really do have to be extra creepy. As if that's not enough nightmare fuel, after his pet snake escapes into the neighbor's apartment and gets turned into snake kebab by the snooty bitch, Tony sends a life-size G.I. Joe action figure after her to take revenge. Hey, remember when this movie was about aliens? For what this movie is, I do find the effects used for this sequence quite impressive, and the actor playing the G.I. Joe soldier does give some nice physicality with his slow robotic movements. Unfortunately, all potential suspense is promptly ruined with this ridiculous scene. We see a shot of the woman's hand as she hides underneath the bed, as she gets distracted by some snacks that got knocked onto the floor. This act of Darwinism naturally gets her a bayonet in the ass. More toys continue to get the drop on people. I mean, she is fine as hell, so I can't even be mad at him. So Tony and his creepy dwarf clown assistant kidnap the babysitter, and after some wacky antics that make me question if this film is partially self-aware of how ridiculous it is, they then cocoon her to the wall and turn her into an incubator for more X.T.R.O eggs. And the dwarf, for some reason, seems very aroused by all of this. So after doing a little research on this film, I found an article from the director addressing all of the extremely random scenes and borderline incoherent storylines that make up this movie. Apparently, most of the sequences in the film were literally just random ideas that were being pitched by several of the cast and crew members throughout filming. such as the Panther sequence and the toy soldier coming to life. Harry Davenport even openly admits that him and his fellow crew members were high on drugs throughout most of the movie's production, and that there is no deeper meaning to any of the strange, random events that happen. Meanwhile, Sam is starting to look a little rough. He kills the boyfriend using his sonic scream. And at last has reached his final X.TRO form. And Tony's not looking much better either. But hey, at least Dad gets custody of the kid this time. Rather than go to the authorities or even the government, the mom just decides to go home and take a bath. She comes across several of the X.TRO eggs in her tub and decides the smart thing would be to put one right up to her face. And the film ends with her getting an alien dick in her mouth. So that was X.TRO. How many different types of drugs went into the making of this movie, I cannot even begin to guess. But one thing is for sure. There is no other movie in existence that is as insane, grotesque, and downright confusing as this one. This film truly has to be seen to be believed. There is some praise I can give it, though. It's easy to see why its bizarre and very abstract style appeals to many science fiction and horror fans out there. Some of the creature designs are rather cool, even if the effects used are a little on the cheap side. I especially like the look of the quadrupedal alien at the start. I honestly wish they would have used it more throughout the film. If you're a gorehound, you'll most certainly enjoy X.TRO, as there's plenty of blood and guts to go around. There are 2 sequels, X.TRO 2 The Second Encounter, and X.TRO 3 Watch the Skies. I'm sure I'll get to those movies eventually, but until then, this has been Mark, aka The Movie Buffer. Ciao for now.